So bear with us.
It is what
Here
it is.
we go.
You know what though? We got a good little presentation, if you want to call it a presentation. Some little words for you this morning. Some great reminders that I think we all need as it applies to your dating. You know, especially dating as a married couple. So you want to lead
So
us out?
five quick tips for the do's and the don'ts of date night. And yes, I will. I think one of the most important things is, it takes intentionality. If you've been married for longer than a month or so, it really does take some intentionality to keep that love spark alive. So one of the very first do's, if you will, for dating is to make sure that you schedule that calendar connection.
Absolutely. In fact, we failed to do this for a really long time, and we, at some point, it dawned on us. It's like, okay, so our date night has become like, hey, do you want to go? And just like last minute sort of thing. And a lot of times, honestly, it was just anything to get out of the house. We might even just go and get groceries or something silly like that. And we both just decided we really do want more for our date night than that. And so when we started actually scheduling it at a particular day, at a particular time each week, then I could ask Julie, hey, would you like to go out on Wednesday evening, right? And, we might go and see a movie, or we might go to dinner. And of course, movies, most movie theaters are actually open now, which is awesome. But the movies, there's not that much coming out. But bottom line is that if you schedule it, then here's what happened for us.
Right.
It gave us something to look forward to specifically. It's like on Wednesday morning, if Wednesday night is date night, then I was like, sweet, I get to take my chick out tonight,
And we could flirt and all that kind of stuff over text. Here's one other part of that.
Yeah.
There I went interrupted.
No, you're good.
We had teenage kids. We had, to manage family relationships too. And so family's so important that a lot of times what would happen on date night is like, do we take the kids? Do we not take the kids?
Felt guilty if we didn't.
And we felt guilty if we didn't. So yeah. So we ended up calendaring
Say that 3
our
times.
connection, and we would make sure that our kids knew, hey, tonight's date night, and we went with a clear conscience.
Yeah, we did, and if you run into that, you feel awkward. But we've talked to a lot of couples that struggle with this as well. You feel weird if you don't take the kids, or something like that. Somebody said, "Well, I don't," Fair enough. But during this season of life, we were struggling to get good quality family time as well, and so that's where we were kind of like, do we take kids or not? So anyway, by calendaring it, we also calendared it on a night when the kids were doing other things. So Wednesday night happens to be youth night. And so this was in their teenage years, like you said. And so we got one teenager left.
I know.
He's getting ready to turn 19. That's crazy. Anyway, so we scheduled it when they were at youth group or at young adults. And so that way they were busy. They weren't here anyway. And we could go without any guilt. We had a blast.
That's right. So
anything else on that?
Yeah, just when you're thinking about calendaring your connections, sometimes budgets can be tight. And so if you can plan, like maybe you need a date night in or a date night out, and the frequency of when you're going to have the dates, we recommend a weekly one.
Yeah.
If budgets are tight, then think about getting a little bit creative. Maybe grab a blanket, have a picnic in the backyard, look at the stars, pop some popcorn, and have a movie night in the bedroom.
I mean, legit, you can rent a movie, most smart TVs, if you've got a smart TV, and most people have a smart TV right now, at this stage in the game. You can watch TV and you can order just about any movie. A lot of the Hollywood. So anyway, the bottom line is that don't let finances become the issue as to why you don't do it. Get creative. In fact, I'm willing to bet that the more creative you can get on a low budget, the more fun and the more connection and the more that you're actually going to value the things that are most important.
Yep, some of our funnest dates. All right, number 2, we're going to move right along, and that is determine to know what you're going to talk about. And with this, it's just, again, it kind of comes...
This is legit. Don't let this slip by, because I'm telling you, it's all about intentionality. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to,
Ladies, maybe arrange a date night for your man and man. Arrange that date night for your lady specifically, and then think about what's going to bring about good conversation. Maybe 1 or 2 good conversations. Don't have those explosive kind of conversations, right? You got to table those, but think about maybe 1 or 2 questions that would spark a different kind of discovering of one another.
Yeah. If you do not have our date night questions, you really need to get them. I'm telling you. Julie and I got into a rut recently. So again, this is not anything that's foreign to us. We've experienced all of the staleness, if you will, of date night and being together sometimes. And recently we broke out our 120 conversation starters. I can spit it out this morning. Anyway,
we don't recommend to have all 120 on one date. No.
No, but they're broken down in sections. I think there's 6 different categories.
There's fun
right?
and flirty, the dream together, the into me see kind of questions. Those are fun.
Anyway, so we just sat down and we would ask a couple of those questions at dinner or when we're out taking a walk. And again, they're conversation starters. And so one thing would lead to another, and it really got our conversation moving. I got to be honest with you, they were awesome. You've got to have them. Made for a purpose. Our admin there just typed in on the feed 33777. So you're going to text married to the number 33777 to get those. Trust me, you want them. They'll freshen up your date nights. But what you're talking about is you're talking about planning ahead. Again, this comes back to intentionality. I mean, it demonstrates, hey, I want to be with you, and I have put a little forethought, even in a really busy day. If you just take just a few minutes, and you think about, okay, how do I want this conversation to go, and how is it that I can engage my spouse without talking about work, or without talking about, this is a tough one sometimes, the kids, because again, it's about the two of you connecting. That's what date night is about, the two of you connecting. And so it's so easy to get in the rut of talking about all those other things, but I think it's important for us to remember to discover our spouse. And again, I'm just telling you, guilty as charged. I've struggled with this at times. Julie struggled with this at times. And we just have to put a little thought. Why don't you give an example of some question or something that we might use to help in conversation starter to make the date about us and connecting?
Yeah, so it might be something like, what are you looking most forward to this next month or this next year? If you could travel anywhere, where would you want to travel right now? If we could take a vacation and just get out of here, where would you go? Yeah. Those kinds of conversations are just a little bit different off the grid of what maybe you would talk about over the kitchen table.
And I think the key is don't take yourself so serious during those kind of conversations. Yeah. I think it's relax and just dream and have fun, you know what I mean? And just don't take yourself so serious. It's like, if you want to go to Bermuda, put Bermuda on there. I'm saying, in other words, just have fun and dream, All
right, so number 3, be fun, flirty, and look for those things that are compatible. And man, I really have to zero in on this. There's been a recent breakthrough in my mind of, instead of, oh man, I don't really feel like doing that, I'm tired. It's like, instead of all the why nots and all the reasons not to go out and have a fun time together, really lean in and think about, man, I want to do this. And don't give that twinge of, oh, I've got so many things that need to get done. We really should do this instead. Lean into the date. One thing that I like to do sometimes is to pretend, okay, this is the first time I'm ever going out with this guy. And it's not like a fake it till you make it kind of thing. It's more of a mindset of, well, how would I be? What would I wear? How would I act? What kinds of conversations would I have with this guy if it was my first time out? I'd want to discover him. I'd want to see what we had in common. I'd want to see what he thought and what he believed in and what he was struggling with or desiring.
And I might try to steal that first kiss. Just saying, again, it's don't take yourself so serious. And flirt. Get out of your comfort zone just a little bit. Again, this is not as difficult as what you might first think that it is. Okay, so when I'm intentional about flirting with Julie, again, a great mindset. It's just interesting when you think like, okay, what if this was our first date? What if this was we've been married for 22 years, right?
Yeah.
Almost 22.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's been a minute. The bottom line is that when we begin to kind of play tricks with our brain that way, then it helps us to kind of kind of stir up some of those euphoric first meeting kind of, and it really actually works, guys. So try it.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it.
I kind of too. The other thing is like if you were going out on a first date with your man or your woman, would they want to go out on a date with you again?
Oh, that's a great thought. Yeah.
It's like, how am I acting? Am I intrigued? Am I just looking at my cell phone? Am I looking at the TV screen? Or are they going to
How
want
are
to
you
go
treating
out?
the people that you're interacting with?
That's it.
You know, that's a big one. So anyway, yeah, I think that's just a little bit of a mind trick, if you will, to help us stay engaged and to look at each other one afresh. You know, you guys have heard me talk about, if you've been on here very much, about creeping on my wife. Like, I do. Like, I just watch her, and I think that sometimes we get so used to being with our mate that they become furniture. They're just something else that's in our house all the time, you know, or in our car all the time. And I think it's really, really important to actually look at that person, look at your mate, as though they are a human being again, and discover them, you know, whether they're in a good mood, whether they're in a bad mood, whatever it is, you know, as you begin to think about, you know, what's going on in that person's mind, and actually begin to look at them as a human being. It goes a long way. And I know it sounds just a little bit silly. It sounds silly until you try it. If you begin to, again, just look at your mate like a human being, like see them, right? This woman's beautiful. Believe it or not, there have been times and seasons where I didn't recognize just how beautiful she's my wife. I see her every day. You know what I mean? So it's easy to forget how awesome the person is that you're actually with. Celebrate their qualities, you know. Again, if you can do that intentionally, I think that, again, these are just things that they're very, very practical. So if you don't like the results you're getting right now, you got to change something. This is one of the things I highly recommend you change. Go ahead.
All right, so when's the last time you called your hubby, ladies, you sexy stud? Right? So it's fun, it's flirty, and you are a sexy stud. All right, enough of that mushy gush, for real. Well, you are a sexy stud.
Anyway.
For real. But all right, number 4. Here's a great thought. Sometimes it does get a little stagnant. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what to do. So here's your challenge. Write down 3 of your top favorite, what you think would be fun dates.
Yeah.
Guys, think about your top 3 dates, what would be fun. Ladies, think about your top 3 dates that would be fun. Think about one that is a stay-at-home date, one that's a go-out date, one that's, you know, a creative, whatever it is. List 3 dates and then share that list with one another. So that way, it's not a secret. I mean, it's not like I wish. Sometimes I think, especially as a woman, we expect our man to read our mind. And that's maybe stereotypical. It could be the opposite way around. But
well, I think there's a reason for it sometimes, because sometimes, yes, I think it's absolutely that our mate expects that we should read their mind. But there's some legitimacy sometimes to, it's not mind reading. Sometimes we drop little hints, you know, and we expect the other person to catch it, and we forget the fact that they're caught up in their own world. We're doing our own thing, you know, et cetera, thinking about all the things that we think about on any given day, and we don't necessarily pick up on the hints. And so, again, this is where kind of scheduling and planning makes a big difference. It's great to be spontaneous. I highly recommend that. But, again, there is some merit to, if you need to, and you're not catching the hints, to scheduling some time to talk about and do this as an exercise together. Okay, what's your top 3 dates? What is it you'd like to do? I know one of the things we like to do.
yeah.
Like, we like to go out and just eat appetizers. Like, we don't even need a meal. You guys ever done that? It's actually kind of fun, because all the good stuff actually in the appetizers most of the time.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes we'll go and get like 2 or 3 appetizers and just share the whole thing. Yeah, that's good. I had
What's
one
another?
other thought. Now I
What
have
is
to,
it?
I can't remember what it was.
Well, yeah, you do. Yeah, just pause.
Oh, I know. If you get stuck, think about like some of your most fond date nights, right? The
Memories?
ones, those fond memories that you've had. So sometimes it's like, I don't even know what I want to do on a date. So think about some of the times that you've had the most fun together. List what was it that took place. So that'll help to stop now, behave. We're on Facebook. But what were those things, and what made it so special? And those might be the qualities that you try to recreate in other date nights. All right, number 5. You ready?
Bring it.
Or do we want to spend some ideas? I like the tapas date night.
Well, what's some more ideas? You got some off the top of your head?
Let's see, I wrote some down. Oh, do a night of chance. So you could draw it out of a hat. You could list some of your things. go to a trampoline park like Flying Panda. I like that one. I like to do front flips and back flips. How about you?
I just like anything that gets us like out of the house, out of the norm. So even something as silly as going bowling or what's that?
Game of pool?
Escape.
Oh, those escape rooms.
Escape rooms. If you live in an area where you can do an escape room, we've not done one yet, but we're getting ready to because a couple of people recommended that. So I think the bottom line is that if you
Comedy
get out.
Event. That'd be
Absolutely. Get on Groupon or whatever and just explore some new options and get out of your comfort zone and look for something. Hey, listen. Don't just let all this kind of slip right on by you. Take some notes, write this stuff down. Go out and actually explore some new ideas about what you can do. Think about how it is that you can be intentional, right? Like really engage and leverage what it is that we've talked about here today. These are all things that we've legitimately done ourselves and things that we've had to do for ourselves in order to keep our date nights fresh and to actually connect with one another and really leverage that time. And there's certainly been times where we've had to get creative because we just didn't have any cash to do anything that was expensive.
All right, so real quick, number 5.
Number 5.
We're going to give you some do's and don'ts. Turn off that cell phone.
Turn it off.
Don't
turn it down. Don't turn it over. Don't stick it in your pocket, in your purse, and whatever else. Like turn it the flip off.
Yeah.
Just saying. You can live without it, and I promise you the world is not going to burn down in an evening when you're spending time with your spouse. It's a big one, and it just removes the temptation, guys.
Oh, my goodness. I hate when Greg's doing it, but then I realize I'm doing it to him. And so those things are really addictive.
Yeah,
Just
it's huge.
leave them alone.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
Put those no conversation zones up. Like, we're not going to talk about this, or this topic.
Yeah.
And so if it does, you guys can, have to do like a buzzword, give each other a kiss or something like that. I don't know. Just keep it fresh and lively.
Set kind of the rules of engagement, so to speak, because again, if we establish what it is we don't want to talk about, and we do that before the date begins, then again, it just helps remind us to stay out of those danger zones and to really honor one another. And that's, again, the point is to honor one another.
Right.
And to engage one another about some things, about connecting with one another and learning about one another. Go ahead.
Yep. Avoid those noisy zones, right? Oh, if you want to have a meaningful conversation, get away from those big screen TV places.
Well, unless
that's what you want to do,
yes,
watch a game or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some couples really dig that together, and if you do, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But generally speaking, like, it doesn't even matter if there's something on the TV that I want to watch. It's just totally distracting. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
I'm going like this, like, hey.
I mean, for real, So I'll try to put my back to a TV if there's one in the restaurant. Just sucks.
Hey, we're going to share a whole lot more. If you're not receiving our weekly words of encouragement, make sure you go in, subscribe. We're going to give a whole lot more than what we can cover in a Facebook Live session.
Yeah.
But I will say this: you want to plan, but don't overplan.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, because I like to plan and then I get in my mind what something's going to look like or what we're going to do, and I'm planning all this fun stuff,
and then it
it's
rains,
a flop.
the restaurant's full,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'm tracking.
So you got to go with the flow and realize, again, the foundation of what you're really trying to do on date night is to reconnect, to rediscover, to have fun together. So
here's what I believe.
Plan, but don't overplan.
I believe if you get creative, I believe if you actually listen to me, if you actually put a little bit of effort into pre-planning, if you put a little bit of effort into being creative, if you put a little bit of effort into really thinking about what are some questions that I could ask to discover my spouse. Julie said, what if money wasn't an issue and you could go anywhere on vacation together, where would you like to go? Doesn't matter whether you've got the money to do it or not. It's just opening your mind and having fun and getting creative and discovering one another. That's an example of a question.
Yeah, that's so great. Hey, we had a couple questions come up here. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at gregandjulie@marriedforapurpose.com. We'd love to take any questions, comments, that kind of thing. You can also visit marriedforapurpose.com. Again, thanks for putting that up there. Other than that, Greg, any other final thoughts as we close
if
this
you missed
out?
it earlier and you need some date night questions, We have 120 of them. You will not sit down and pepper your spouse with 120 questions. They might dig your eyes out, you know, if you do that. But you could ask a couple of them. Again, you can text 33777. And when you do that, type the word married to 33777, and we'll send you free these 120 date night ideas. And then there's some other stuff in there. Oh, there's 6 date night ideas and 120 questions.
Conversation started.
Again, like I said, we're back.
From California.
From California. Well, here on the East Coast and trying to get woke up this morning.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again this week. Catch us next time. Also, Brandon and Melissa are going to be sharing on Friday. I think they're going to be sharing some stuff about family.
Outstanding.
This Friday. So that'll be a great one. Don't miss that. And if you have any questions, comments, or you want to connect with us more personally, you can email us at gregandjulie@marriedforapurpose.com. And after that, I guess the only thing I would say is plan that date night.
That's right.
All right, guys.
Have
Thanks
fun.
for joining us.